welcome to JAXconf 2012 right here in San Francisco. I'm very happy to have here Jez Humble, who recently did a keynote. Jez names is associated to the notion of continuous delivery. And as we know that in a very short interview time, there's no time to explain the whole concept of continuous delivery. Maybe you can tell us a few basic principles which companies should understand.
Sure, so the essence of continuous delivery is that all the way through the software delivery lifecycle, your software should always be releasable, and the act of releasing it should be a push button activity that is totally boring. And you should be able to press that button at any time and release the latest version and be comfortable that nothing happens.
The idea of nightly builds is out there for a very long time. So what do you guys add to that concept?
So the nightly build, as you say, has a long history, but you wouldn't necessarily release a nightly build to your users. And in fact, nightly builds have a history of failing, and then you have to try and fix everything, and then the next nightly build fails. And so nightly builds might fail more often than they pass, perhaps. With continuous delivery, the idea is that the first priority of the team is to keep the software releasable. So it's not good enough to just leave the build red, and also to add more validation so that if everything is green, you have complete confidence that you can press the button, nothing but that.
Okay. So maybe you can tell us what should an enterprise understand to make this possible? Or in other words, does this process work in an isolated IT team, or is there more dependencies to the whole enterprise necessary?
So yeah, usually in enterprises there's kind of Rube Goldberg architecture where you have all these systems and you have these very important systems that are still running on VAX that are all the kind of key business critical services that no one has the source code to anymore, and you have SAP and you have a bunch of custom apps, and it's very difficult in that situation to disentangle all the various parts. So a key part of continuous delivery is architecture, and moving towards service-oriented architecture, which is a kind of a buzzword, but the idea of a service-oriented architecture is it's decoupled. I can change part of the system without having to change every other part of the system, so I don't have this enormous dependency. So architecture plays one role. The other important thing in an enterprise is that you have to have the political will to make the first priority be keeping the system releasable. In enterprises, usually the pressure is on feature delivery, and you just don't have the time to focus on, okay, we're going to slow down feature delivery to make sure the quality of the delivery system is really good. It's like a guy in the forest cutting down trees. He's trying to cut down the trees, and he has a target for the number of trees he has to cut down, and his axe is blunt. And you say, listen, you should stop. Your axe is blunt. Sharpen your axe. And he says, no, I don't have time to sharpen my axe. I have to cut down these trees. And this is the situation with many enterprises. They don't have the time to do the work to do continuous delivery. And so that's the biggest thing. You have to make time. You have to create space to do this. And really, it's just continuous improvement. It's just the capability to say, we're going to find out what our biggest problem is, do something small to make it slightly better, and just keep doing it. It shouldn't be a program, it shouldn't be a project, it should be part of your ongoing continuous improvement initiatives.
There are also enterprises out there who use this kind of a sportive competition. They release 20, 50 releases per day. Does this make sense?
It depends. I mean, I'm a consultant, so that's what I say to every question.
Sometimes everybody.
That doesn't make sense. That's why I distinguish between continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Continuous deployment means releasing every good build to your users. Continuous delivery means the capability to release any good build. But the decision to press the button to release is a business decision. So you don't have to release every good build. You release when it makes sense to do so. The difference is, it's like continuous deployment is you have a monkey on drugs who's pressing that button all the time. But whether or not to do that, that's a business question.
Okay. So for me personally, it sounds a little bit like, just to use another analogy, like the app stores. So if I'm using my iPad or my iPhone and the new Twitter version is out, it's just one tip and it comes down with. This is the app stores for enterprises?
Yeah, that's a really interesting analogy, and I've never thought of that before, but I think the important point about that is, as a user, as a customer, it's so easy for me to just press that button and get it. And that requires a lot of infrastructure and a lot of work. Anyone who's taken something from Xcode and deployed it to the App Store knows that's a non-trivial exercise. And I think that's really important. Focusing on making the experience of installing and upgrading to be so easy for the customer that it's one click. I think that's actually really, really important, and a really important functional requirement of your system, that it be very easy to install and upgrade. That's so important.
Thank you very much.
And it's great.
I hope to see you on one of the future JAXconf conferences soon.
It's a pleasure.